We are excited about the elaboration room.
I am excited about this.
Welcome to the Elaboration Room with Reverend Yo and Reverend Harris.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again in the Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. First of all, we want to thank you, our faithful viewers, and those of you that are joining us for the first time for even clicking on our page to see what we are talking about tonight. We thank you for your support. We thank you for your comments. We just thank you for just being here just to listen to two sisters talk about life and other things that we have encountered in this life. So tonight, we are going to be talking about strangers. We're going to deal with the child's concept of a stranger and also strange people that do some strange things in our lives. So tonight, that's where we're kicking it off. And tonight, guess who's starting with for us? Sister, go ahead and kick it off.
Okay, so the first thing I want to start off with is ask your child to draw a picture of a stranger. I taught little ones for over 30 years, and each year I would do this lesson and I would ask my students to draw a picture of a stranger. And the response, the pictures would be pictures of faces with gnashing teeth and big eyes and spiky hair and snarling faces. When we say stranger to a child, we equate danger. And in that child's mind, the formulation of a monster's face appears. A stranger does not approach children with the face of a monster, but smiling faces. And we've heard of strangers going up to children in parks, asking them to help them find a puppy. So they have a face in need of help to win that child over. And it's sad to say that sometimes it's a familiar face. We give an explanation that a stranger is someone we do not know, that we don't go with strangers and we are not to talk to strangers. That's what we tell our kids. And all of this is true. Strangers can be someone we don't know. But in this harsh world, we must also equip our children with safety and knowing the importance of being careful, not as a blanket statement, but in detail by giving them safe words and phrases. My kids into their adulthood still remembered their safe words and safe phrases. Why? Because sometimes a stranger is someone we do know.
Yeah.
It's a neighbor on the block. Sometimes it's a friend's parent. It's a friend, or it's a relative. And why would I say that? Because sometimes, has anyone ever done something to you and you looked at them and you may not have said it out loud, but you want to say, I don't even know you right now. What's wrong with you? In that space, they become a stranger.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to equip our kids, because in teaching them this lesson, I would ask them, if you are at the park with your family and Miss Theresa comes up to you and you know me, I'm your teacher, and I say, listen, I live right across the street from the park. Come with me real quick and let's have some ice cream at my house and then I'll bring you back. Would you go with me? And most of my class would raise their hand and say yes. And I told them, no. You shouldn't go with me. If your mommy or daddy didn't tell you it's okay for you to go with me, even though you know me, you should not go with me, because Miss Theresa has no business taking you to her house. You are with me here in the classroom. And this is a sad state that we are in, but these things happen. And I know it from experience, because as I was 16, standing at a bus stop, waiting to go to a summer job, a friend's father pulled up and said, "I'll give you a ride." And I got in the car. And all of a sudden, he was trying to put his hand up my skirt and his tongue down my throat. He became a stranger. And I jumped out of that car. So we have to equip our kids. And it's never too young. They're never too young. If you're sending them to daycare at age 2, age 4, talk to them. Ask them to draw a picture. What you got, sis?
When you were talking, I was just thinking of that, because when most of the time when we teach our kids, or even us as adults, we see strangers as someone that we don't know, or someone that, we have no relationship with, or, we have no acquaintance at all with them. But our children do not have that concept, because, they just see an adult, or they see someone they think they know. When you use the one about you were teaching your kids, that, if they seen you, would you go with them? And their response was yes, because they know you. And then you use the same reverse on that with your friend's father that you did know, and you got in the car with him, and what happened. I think where we fall with many of our children is we don't teach them that even people we know can be
Right.
a stranger to you. When my kids were little, and that was many, many years ago, when my kids were little, they couldn't spend the night at no one's house other than grandma or 2 of my sisters. That was it. They were not allowed to spend a night anywhere, especially nowhere where a man was, because I had a daughter. So that was just something that we just didn't allow at that time, because we also have to be careful when we allow or make kids entertain adults, is what, we would call it today. That when we were growing up, kids weren't even allowed in the same room as adults, but now kids hang with adults and just have conversations, and it's sad that adults would think that way of a child. But we also, as parents, need to be careful about how we dress our children as well, especially around, people that are a little bit too close to us, or even strangers, especially when we have our young girls, because we never know what's in the mind of anyone when it comes to a child or even an adult. Because, you were 16, we're talking younger kids, 16, but that can be the same as an adult. Another adult, male or female, can do the same thing, to someone else. So, where we as adults are more friendly, especially me, my husband called me the social butterfly. You just talk to anybody. Well, yeah, I am, but I'm also, try to be very aware of my surroundings. I'll talk to somebody in a grocery store, or, but I'm not, walking through the park talking to strangers. I have my, certain places where I will talk to people. Now, if he's with me and we're doing our, exercise in the park or whatever, yeah, I'll talk to somebody because he's there. But normally than that, we try to be careful. But I like the concept that you use to break it down to us, that even people we know, or people our children know, can be strangers, and even people
in a moment.
Yeah, just that quick, and you never know. I really like the concept of how that was all broken down. It's really important that we really take the time to understand, have our children understand that people you know are strangers, as well as people you don't know, because you never know the mind of someone that that your child may know, because you know them, but you never know which mind place that they're going with that.
And that's why I brought up the issue, the point of safe words, safe phrases. As a family, sit down and discuss scenarios that a child may be approached, an emergency happened and your mom or your dad told me to come and pick you up. Well, what is the safe phrase?
Mhm.
That's what I told my boys. Ask them, what is the safe phrase? Because no one is going to come and pick you up if they don't know the safe phrase. Not that I told them or their dad told them to come and pick them up. And so you don't go.
Mhm.
And so that's so important. And this was so relevant many years ago, but it has not changed at all. It is still very important. And you can't be afraid to have these talks with your children. And like I say, 2 years old, 4 years old, they should all know their names, their phone numbers. They should know their mommy and dad's first and last name.
Yes.
They need this information. And I would just have them say it. We put it in a song.
Mm-hmm.
We put it in a song because it's a hard place. Yeah. It's a hard place. And we always try to give a scriptural reference. Look at Matthew 7:15. Watch out for false prophets. Well, right here, I want you to place it in watch out for those false people who come in sheep's clothing. They come with smiling faces. Like I say, they're not going to come at your child or at you looking like a wolf.
Yeah.
They're going to come with a smile. They're going to come with a need. But inwardly, they are ferocious wolves.
They come with treats. They start hanging around the lot. They get a little closer with the family.
Yes.
They hang out at the barbecues. They hang out at all the, the family events. They become very acquainted to where they know your lifestyle. They know your patterns. They know if the kids are at home alone. They know when you are at work. They start to learn who you are.
Your patterns. And like you said, and it's really, truly not just for kids. Mm-hmm. When I was young adult and dating, my aunt worked for Hollywood Police Department and she would run driver's license. I didn't care. If you didn't want to give me your information, that's fine. We didn't have to go out. My roommate would always come walk me out and get the license plate number of the car I was getting ready to get into. And she would write down the driver's license number and all that pertinent information. We have to be safe.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing these online dating apps. And isn't that where that TV show Catfish? Is it Catfish? There's a TV show that goes around showing people who have these apps that are pretending they are like putting out a false persona of who they are and talking to other people online. So,
that can even be done in person, because you can meet someone and they're putting up something that they're really not. And then when you get to know this individual, you find out that they're not really who they say they are. So either way, when we're dealing with strangers, male or female, we have to be very alert of who we're going on date with, or who we're talking to. Don't let nobody pick you up from home. You drive your own car, you meet somebody somewhere else. Even if you have to take an extra round-the-way detour to go back home to where you live.
For the first few dates, or have some people at the restaurant or wherever you're meeting them, have some of your friends be there, in the background.
I remember when me and my husband, when we first went on our first date, I met him way at my aunt's house, way in La Mirada, like miles away from where I live. Met him way in La Mirada at her front porch, everything. That's where he picked me up from. That's where he brought me back to. So you wasn't knowing where I live, not at this point in time, because I didn't really know, who he was. It was a first date. But 20 years later, we still
Right.
so
Right.
really that was a great first day.
And I would tell them, you know what? When I would be copying down like driver's license and they would be taking license plate, and they'd say, girl, what's wrong with you? Why are you so paranoid? I said, I have to give them a jumping off place. They have to have a place where to start to look for me in case you turn out to be a nut. I would tell them.
Yeah, and now that's how, and that was years ago when we dated. I don't even ever want to date.
It's even harder now.
Girl,
you hear about missing people all the time.
Yeah, because when she would go on dates, she would take pictures of the license plates, the IDs, the man's face, and she would send it to me to my phone. And she was like, "This is what car I'm in. This is who I'm with. This is where we're going. If you don't hear from me by a certain time,
exactly,
come to where I'm at. And then if you can't see me there or I didn't contact with you, call the police." So we had a certain time that, she was supposed to check in, or if I was out dating, then I was supposed to check in, because then we knew if we didn't check in at that certain time, we knew somebody was coming to look for us. So it's just all about being safe. That's just really what it's about. So
that's it. So equip your children, equip each other, look out for each other. We are all connected, sis.
We are.
A lot of useful information we hope we have given you.
Yes. We hope we filled in to give you what? Something else to consider.
That's right.
Think about. That's right. Because we want you to always think about what we're talking about tonight. So as we always say, we're going to end this segment. We hope you enjoyed our segment tonight on strangers, protecting your children from strangers, and also people that they know that can be strangers. So as we always end, we want you to be brave, be strong, and be different. We want you to ask, and it will be given unto you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door shall be opened unto you. Believe in yourself and encourage yourself. But in all things, remember, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Until next week, in the elaboration room with two sisters of one, we pray you have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
The Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode every Monday at 6 p.m.